What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from Heart State Brewing, and they are out of Gahanna, Ohio, and this is their Double Walnut Sweet. So they're calling this one an Imperial Milk Stout brewed with walnut and vanilla. It comes in 11.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. I don't know exactly how old this can is because it does not have a canned on date, but I believe it is no older than 4 months old, and that's because this can was sent to me by a very good friend of mine and fellow BeerTuber, Jay, over at This Guy's Thoughts. So huge thanks to him for this beer. In the description box, I'll post a link to Jay's channel along with the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with. And he sent me 2 different beers from Heart State, this and their double German chocolate sweet, double German chocolate cake sweet, which is basically, from what I can tell, sweet is their regular milk stout. I think it's like 5.6% or something like that. So this is an imperialized version of that beer, and then they're brewing this one with walnuts and vanilla. Now, the reason why I say it's no older than 4 months old is I believe that Jay said that the 3 stouts he included in the beer mail to me were all canned in February. At least that's what he said. So I would assume that this is no older than 4 months old, somewhere around there. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what to expect from this beer. Always awesome trying new breweries. Never heard of Heart State, but 11.5% Imperial Milk Stout with walnuts and vanilla. Sure. Anyway, let me crack this one open, get it into the glass, see what we got going on. Oh, it's a gusher. It is a gusher. It's been in my fridge the entire... Yeah, wow. Definitely a gusher, though. It's been in my fridge the entire time. We're gonna have to talk, let it settle down a little bit. So yeah, definitely gushed out, wanted to come out. Hopefully, everything's okay and this is not infected to any degree, but what does that look like? Well, that looks like some big Imperial Stout. Now, on camera, it's gonna look pitch black. In person, it's a really dark brown, has a little bit of like a light brown, ruby red tinge here at the bottom. It's, pitch black up here, but for the most part down here, it's definitely dark brown. Has about a 3, almost 4 finger, straight up brown colored head. Looks super creamy, but again, the carbonation looks quite ridiculous. Hopefully it didn't start re-fermenting in the can. You get, when you start, brewing with different adjuncts and whatnot, who knows? But again, Jay sent me the beer mail. It went from me unboxing it right into my fridge. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it looks nice. Let's get a nose. Whew, what is that? That smells great. Wow. It almost smells like some kind of like coffee dessert, because there's a big blast I'm getting of coffee. There's no coffee in here. Probably just coming from the base malts, but there's coffee. There's a nuttiness. I wouldn't say walnut if I was doing this blind, but there is a distinct nuttiness. I might even guess peanut butter. But there's a nuttiness here. There's sweet caramel, chocolate, toffee, and then vanilla. But for my Canadian viewers, but anybody who's ever had a coffee crisp, the chocolate bar, that kind of is what this smells like. It smells like a sweeter, like coffee dessert. Yeah, that smells really good. I'm going to pour a little bit more in here as it's starting to die down. Maybe I can get a little bit more in here. Yeah, something like that. It doesn't smell... the worry for me is that it's 11.5% isn't going to be too sweet. The nose indicates, yeah, there's sweetness there, but again, there's a coffee, there's almost a roasted malt quality. Maybe like a sweet dark sherry. Wow. This smells pretty good, but I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone, but like the carbonation, the head's dissipating. You can hear it. It's crazy. Yeah, it smells really good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Jay. There is some, I just want to mention there's some condensation there, but this was in my dark beer fridge, which I keep 52 degrees, so this is probably around 55 degrees right now. Anyway, cheers, Jay. Thanks. Appreciate it, good sir. Wow. Ooh. Jay, what'd you do to me? Wow. This might be the sweetest beer I've had in a hot minute. Holy fuck. It's crazy sweet. Wow. Time out. The nose gave me no indication the sweetness of this beer would be as high as it is. I'm getting goosebumps. Like, I can't process what's happening right now. One more sip and then we'll talk body mouthfeel, but it is so sweet. Palate's getting a little bit acclimated, but it's real fucking sweet. The body on this one, higher side of medium, lower side of full, 11.5%. It's definitely thin for 11.5% beer. I would like it a little bit more, full bodied, thick, chewy, the viscosity to be there. It's not. It's a touch thin. The mouthfeel, despite, seemingly being overcarbonated, maybe a little bit of extra fermentation there in the can, does have a nice carbonation. Let's say a moderate carbonation, but the lactose providing probably some of that sweetness in addition to like a soft and smooth and somewhat creamy body. So mouthfeel is better than the body. The taste, I just can't. Like, I get hit with flavors and then it just dissipates into this big blast of straight on sweetness. Like, it's just, it can't. Roasted malt, coffee at the front of the palate. It almost gives you mocha vibes, coffee and chocolate. And I'm getting a slight, like, maybe like a husk of some kind of nut. Shout out to a good friend of mine, fellow BeerTuber Paul over at PA Brew News. There's some kind of husk, like nut husk that's happening, drying aspect, characteristic, but like not drying as in drying because it's sweet, drying as like you're having that instead of like eating like a walnut, like the husk itself. Yeah, so roasted malt, coffee, chocolate, the husk of a nut, maybe a touch of vanilla. That's the first half of the palate. Mid palate is where this, usually most beers for me, sweetness hits up front, bitterness on the back, dryness on the back. See if you can balance it out. This one, the front of the palate is where the roasted malt, chocolate, and coffee hit. It's not overly sweet, but we'll say about a third of the way, maybe a third of the way through the palate, instead of halfway, there's just a big blast of sweetness. A malt sweetness, I'd imagine. And it just hits you, and it carries on the back of the palate. This has that, gives you the sticky lips, but also, if you've ever like drank a soda pop or some kind of drink that's sweet, that like sweet kind of, I know it sounds gross, but like the phlegm you develop on the back of the palate from the sweetness, that's what I'm getting in this beer. It's fucking crazy sweet. I'm taking baby sips right now because this is the sweetest beer I've had in, like I said, a hot minute. It's crazy sweet. The back of the palate, it finishes incredibly sweet. Maybe a touch of like a mild bitterness, but it's fucking crazy sweet. There's no dryness to speak of. Here's what I'll say. The 11.5%, get a little warm in the chest, nothing on the palate. So kudos to them for hiding the ABV in 11.5% beer, at least on the palate. But holy fuck is this sweet. This is, when people talk about pastry stouts and trying them out and whatnot, and, a lot of times they'll go, oh, it's crazy sweet, or it's too sweet for me. I've had a lot of beers in my time. I've had a lot of pastry beers. This is up there probably in the top 5% of sweet pastry beers. This is almost undrinkable from the sweetness aspect. Like, I would love this in like a 4-ounce can. That's the reality. Wow. I'm not expecting that. What do I like about this beer? I think the flavor's at the forefront. The mocha vibe, the roastedness, the vanilla, maybe even I'm starting to get like a little bit of a cherry kind of thing going on, like a stone fruit. I like the characters at the forefront. I like that it hides the alcohol well. What do I like about this beer? The drinkability and the fact that, and again, when I say drinkability, I'm talking about drinkability within 11.5% Imperial Milk Stout with walnuts and vanilla. I want this to be drinkable as in I could take down this entire can by myself, or I could split this with someone and not have any issues. As we talk right now, it's going to be tough to drink the rest of this can, let alone the second half of this can. Like, it's that fucking sweet. I like the flavors. The sweetness is just over the top. So, the one thing that recently I've had some beers that I have not been fond of, and I post my thoughts. People are like, "Oh, I'm glad you're honest, and I'm glad you gave your real opinion." That's what we do. Hopefully, if you're a beer tuber or anybody reviews anything on YouTube or in general, like I would hope you'd be honest with what you think about the product you're reviewing, or in my case, the beer. And I don't hate this, but the drinkability is hindered extremely, like to the point where I'm probably gonna take a couple more sips, and I don't know, I might drink pour this one. And it's sad to say, because Jay spent his hard-earned dollars to grab this beer, and he's kind enough to send it to me and spend money to ship it. But like, this is just not me. This is just too sweet. We'll see what happens, off camera, if I can drink the rest of it. But this one's not for me. It's not bad at all. Like, it's not, like, again, take it back. Like, flavor-wise, whatnot, it's not bad. And if you like sickly sweet beers, this is you all day. So I'm going to have to give it a proper rating based on, so a lot of times when I say undrinkable or passing grade would be 2.5 or low. I'm going to give this a passing grade because I can drink this in small doses. I don't think it's gross, like, as the beer tastes. I think it's just too sweet. So I'm going to give Heart State Brewing's Double Walnut Sweet, I'm going to give that a low 3 out of 5 and go 2.9 out of 5. The reason I'm doing that and not giving it a fail, again, 2.5 or below is a fail for me, or below 2.5, is because I do like the flavors. I like that they hide the alcohol. I just think the sweetness for me, I would like to share this can between at least 4 individuals. Like, everyone gets 4 ounces, that's fine. I probably want 2 or 3, to be honest with you. I don't know how much I've drank so far in this review, but it's more than I would probably like to. I'm starting to just have that, like, feeling of just too much sweetness from a beer, which I've had before at, like, Beer Fest and whatnot. So I'm sorry, Jay, that I didn't like this one, but we always got to be honest, and this just didn't do it for me because of the sweetness. So price and availability, I have no idea. Jay, chime in what you paid for a can of this. I would hope a can of this would be no more than like $7-8. It's 11.5%. It's a 16-ounce can. It has walnuts and vanilla in it, but 11.5%, and the fact that it's a 16-ounce can, I'd say 8 and under I'd be okay with. Above that, probably not. Availability, I have no idea. I'd imagine Heart State doesn't get great distribution, so probably in the state. I would imagine that's about it. If you've had this before or anything from Heart State, let me know. This is my first beer from Heart State, and I will say, like I said, the flavors are nice. They hid the alcohol extremely well. Fucking sweetness is crazy. A lot of people probably post like, hey, it's 11.5% beer. It should be sweet. Yeah, it should be to some degree. But it shouldn't be cloying, and it shouldn't be like I drink 2 or 3 ounces and I feel like sick to my stomach, because that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. So sorry, Jay, I didn't like it, but I thank you for sending this one my way. Now I have their double German chocolate cake sweet, and I hope that's not as sweet as this, because I love two huge desserts that I love: key lime pie, German chocolate cake. I'm hoping that it mimics a German chocolate cake, but just not super sweet. We'll see if it does. Anyway, I have nothing else to say. This is probably a longer review than it needs to be, and that's fine. But got to be honest with your reviews. Got to be honest with how I feel when you drink a beer like this. And it always pains me to give a lower score to a beer that was sent to me out of the kindness of someone's heart, like Jay. But you got to be honest. And here we are, 2.9 out of 5. Anyway, if you had this one before, let me know what you think about it. Thanks to Jay for hooking me up with this one. Despite the fact I didn't like it, still appreciate trying it and trying out something from Brewery. Anyway, shutting it down to the next one. Cheers.